Hello and welcome to this video. So at the very beginning of this whole training, I'd like to discuss with you what is actually important when we want to become good sound engineers. So which skill set should we have so that we can do our job properly? So I'd like to discuss this a little bit with you now. So I would put 3 columns. And the 3 columns represent 3 different types of skill set we need to do our job well. So most people think, yeah, probably like we have to know how to use the technical equipment well. That's basically the skill set you need, right? So I'll name the first column use technical equipment. However, there is much more than just that. Of course, it's very important that you know how to connect cables, how to use the settings you can take in the console. But this is basically just the beginning. This is just one of 3 parts. So yeah, maybe you can guess what the other 2 rows could be. Yeah, just stop the video and think a little bit about it. I'm saying it right away now. So the second column is knowing about music. So like knowing music. As a sound engineer, it's really important that you're a musician as well. You should know how music works, how each instrument sounds, how the band arranges the songs, how like what instruments are important in what parts of the song. Actually would be the best thing if you even play an instrument yourself or even have yourself some experience in playing in bands or singing or whatever. So knowing about music, that's a really important thing too. And third, last but not least, the third column is called organization and communication. So it's really important that you know how to organize things well and how to communicate to the band, to the different speakers you will have during the event. That's really crucial. In my opinion, it's almost the most important topic of the 3, the most important skill set of the 3, because as a sound guy, you really work together with a lot of different people. You're kind of the interface between many different parts of the events. So if you're not able to communicate to these people well, to organize and prepare things well, most surely the event will turn out not as you anticipated. So organization communication is really important. Let me just write down some bullet points for the 3 columns now. We start with use technical equipment. So what could be important here? There's many things like you should know how to control your system, like controlling the system. So you should know your mixing console. You should know how it works, what settings you can take. You should not use it the first time at an event live. You should at least practice a little bit before, so that you know already where the settings are, because normally there is not a lot of time during sound checks, so you have to be very efficient on sound checks. So know how to control the system. This is a really important topic. Then there is lots of mixing skills. Basically, you could need like know how to gain channels. So that's not topics we will discuss later. Also know how to use like EQs. It doesn't matter if you don't know these words now. We will talk all of this during the course. So know how to use EQ, compressors, gates, and so on. Know how to also how to arrange your channels, so you will have lots of different instruments, lots of different microphones, and you have to know what channel is there, how you arrange them, and how to arrange them such that you can work efficiently. So channel, let me call it channel arrangement. Yeah, something like that. There is much more things here, like you could add effects. You should know about effects like reverbs and delays. That will be mainly the two main effects you'll be using probably, but there is much more effects, so you should know about what is available and how to use these things. And yeah, I mean, we could grow this list like for for a long time. So one last thing which it will also be very important is gain structures. So we have that up here already, like gain structures. Yeah, so you see there is a quite big list of things to know, but be aware it's just the beginning, because we got 2 more columns. So column number 2 is know about music, and here the probably first thing is like know how the songs sound, like know songs. I myself listen to the songs a lot before the band plays them. I listen to them on Spotify or whatever platform they're available at, because I have to really know them by heart. Like I have to know how the songs sound, which instrument is important in which part of the song, how is it arranged, all this kind of stuff. So I have to really know the songs well. Also important, you have to have a good and you have to have a good listening ear. I don't know if the expression makes sense, like listening ear. You have to train your ear. This is really something you can actively do to listen to certain things in a mix, like feedback, in like feedback frequencies. You should learn about how different frequencies sound, so that you can recognize them and change the level, for instance. So you should have a good listening ear, like a good ear to recognize things in a mix. Yeah, also very important, know instruments. So as sound guys, we do not just play one instrument, but we play basically all of them. So we have to know how do the instruments sound. Especially important, the drum also. The drum consists of many different parts, and most sound engineers have like a lot of difficulty with mixing the drum nicely. So I recommend to everyone to go to the drum before the sound check and play it yourself, so you know again, like it comes back to your mind how the drum sound is. And the same with every instrument, basically. You should know how this instrument sounds so that you can mix them in a good way. All right, then the 4th bullet point I want to put here is sound image. So there is hundreds of ways how to create a mix, and every sound engineer would probably do it a little bit different. But what your goal is basically is to do a sound image. I call that sound image because that's basically the way how you take the things the band does and put it into practice, like put it into onto the speakers of the front of house speakers, basically, like the hall speakers of the venue. So you should also discuss with maybe the band itself or with the leader of the whole event what actually the goal is, how the sound should be transported to the people. There is lots of different events. There is a big difference from like a rock concert to a church service, let's say. There is so many ways you can do both of them, but you will definitely do a rock concert much louder, much stronger, so that the people cannot really hear each other anymore. Probably you will do it similar in church, probably not. There is many different churches here. Most likely it will be less loud, mixed in a different ways, like less electric guitars, let's say, also less snare and drums, maybe. I don't know. So that's really changes from event to event, and you should really try to get a good understanding of how can I mix the sound, and how is it approaching the people when I change certain things in a mix. So sound image is really important, especially when it is a recurring event and you have like a whole team of volunteers, let's say, doing sound at these events. You might want to get the event to a point where it's always sounds similar. And if different sound guys are involved, you have to find a sound image which all of them can do, so that it always sounds similar. All right, and then last but not least, the third column, organization and communication. So very important things here. We work together with a band, and that's people, and they have to do a job. They have to perform on stage and play their instrument well, with as least amount of errors as possible. So I think it strongly depends on how you do your job, or I think how you do your job and how many errors the band members play is highly correlated. I think if you do a good job, they can trust you, the band can trust you, and they if they have like a good monitoring sound, a good in-ear sound, they can hear themselves play well, and that makes them confident, and confidence is very important when you play an instrument or when you sing, to do a good job. So if you do a good job, if you make them feel comfortable on stage, they will definitely do a better job. So make band feel comfortable. That's probably the most important thing, I would say, because whenever they cannot perform well, you cannot do anything with the sound they send to your mixing console. The mix will always be bad because they play bad things. It's pretty easy, but so it should be a really important thing to you that you make sure they can do their job well. Then there's several things you can do for having a good preparation, having a good planning, which is make a stage plan before the event, like stage plan. These things we'll discuss later on in the course. You should do a patch list. You should probably ask the band to do a tech rider. So these things really help to prepare good for an event, and each of these we will also at some point discuss. Also, the sound check is a quite crucial thing, probably the most crucial for you in the whole event. And during the sound check, most of the time you are in charge. You are the leader of the whole thing, basically. So you have to make sure you guide through the sound check well, that everyone knows what to do, that the whole thing is efficient and doesn't take too much time. So lead sound check. Often, especially for smaller events, you will also be the person responsible for the setup of the system. So mostly you're the one knowing the most about all the cables and all the equipment we have. So you should know, you should also probably be aware that you most of the time have to lead the setup of the whole system as well. So lead setup. Yeah, and yeah, I think I want to keep it like this. There is of course also here several other things to consider, but yeah, please always be aware of that this third column, this organization and communication, is quite crucial. If you do not prepare well, the event will fail. If you do not communicate to the band well, if you do not lead the sound check well, the event will fail. So yeah, make sure you really also think into these things, how to do these things well, and do a good job in this organization communication part. Of course, in this training course, we will have a heavy focus on how to use the technical equipment, because there is really a lot of background knowledge you need in that one. But at this point, I just wanted to mention third column as much as possible, because I don't want you to forget about it, even though we will talk a lot about use technical equipment column in the following videos. So yeah, make sure you do not forget about these 3 columns, and yeah, I'm happy to see you in the next videos when we start to go through all the course content.